Have you ever wondered why certain truths linger uncomfortably in the mind, long after the words are read? Some writings don't aim to soothe, they aim to reveal. And when Arthur Schopenhauer turned his attention toward women, he didn't do so with hatred in his heart. He observed them coolly, clinically, like a philosopher dissecting the core of human instinct, and like a surgeon, cutting past appearances to expose what lies beneath. What he wrote wasn't poetry, nor propaganda. It was something rarer, blunt honesty. This wasn't the lashing out of a scorned man, nor the ramblings of a cynic. These were deliberate, piercing reflections on behavior, desire, and power, observations that many in today's world would shy away from, perhaps even fear to speak aloud. They're not rants, they're raw examinations of emotional transactions, social dynamics, and the quiet manipulations that play out behind smiles and silences. And despite being over 100 years old, they still resonate because they challenge illusions that many men unconsciously embrace. These 14 truths aren't offered as advice. They're ancient discomforts. Don't flatter, they expose. They won't comfort you or charm you. But if you're willing to see through the haze of what you want to believe, they might just sharpen your understanding, not just of women, but of yourself. This isn't content for the easily offended. It's for those who hunger to understand the deeper, darker mechanisms that quietly govern the dance between the sexes, and how that dance shapes your role in the world. Prepare yourself. You may not see women the same way again. You may not see yourself the same way either. 1. She's an actress by instinct, not by choice. From the moment she discovers the silent power in a smile, a well-timed tear, or a carefully measured pause, she begins her lifelong apprenticeship in performance. But this isn't born of deception, it's born of necessity. The world doesn't merely tolerate her acting, it rewards her for it. A little girl who swallows her real feelings is called well-mannered. A woman who plays to a man's ego is praised as charming. With time, the mask stops feeling like a mask at all. It fuses with her identity, crying on command, feigning joy, or strategically withholding truth. These aren't flaws, they're cultivated survival tactics. While boys are told to be brave and speak honestly, girls are quietly trained to be agreeable, to adapt, to please. But beneath that surface, a deeper question lingers. Are you falling for her, or for the role she's mastered playing just for you? 2. Her love is transactional. She doesn't love you the way you imagine. She loves how you make her feel the emotional rush, the validation, the safety. It may not be conscious or coldly calculated at first. To her, it feels real in that moment. But when that feeling fades, when the thrill wears off, when you no longer spark that emotional high, her bond begins to unravel. Her loyalty isn't to you, it's to the emotional experience you provide. That's why so many men are left stunned. When she walks away, you thought you were irreplaceable, a permanent fixture in her story. But to her, you were a season, a chapter, a passing mood. She didn't love you, she loved what you symbolized. And the moment that symbol stops serving her emotional script, the story ends, often without warning. 3. She hides her darkness behind softness. She moves gently, speaks in warm tones, and cloaks her words in kindness. To most men, she appears harmless, perhaps even angelic, ... But what looks like innocence is often strategy. Beneath the soft gaze, the gentle voice, and the delicate gestures, there's often far more calculation than most men suspect. What appears as purity may, in truth, be precision. Schopenhauer didn't see naivety, he saw intention. He saw kind of awareness masked behind sweetness, quiet knowing that understands how perception can be power. A woman's influence rarely makes itself known through force. It whispers instead. It smiles. It waits. Her strength doesn't announce itself. It lingers behind expressions of vulnerability that catch you off guard. That softness you think is sincerity. It might be the velvet glove covering a steel hand. It's not manipulation in the overt sense, it's more subtle, more polished. That fragility disarms you, gains your confidence, and invites your protection. But make no mistake, beneath that charm can lie ambition, envy, or even silent judgment. It's hidden well behind laughter or lowered lashes. She knows the precise moment to appear delicate and the perfect moment to strike without raising alarm. Not because she's malicious, but because it's effective. This isn't cruelty, it's instinct. It's what works. What looks like innocence, Schopenhauer would argue, is often just strategy wearing a silk ribbon. What you read as purity may be performance. What you mistake for gentleness could be control, dressed in velvet. 4. She doesn't want truth. She wants comfort. Say something brutally honest and watch what happens. Confusion, denial, sometimes even outrage. Is it because she can't grasp what you're saying? Not quite. It's often because she doesn't want to grasp it. A woman's emotional landscape takes precedence over cold, hard facts. Her world is built on feeling, not formulas. She doesn't seek confrontation with harsh truths. She seeks the soothing balm of emotional reassurance. When you tell her what she wants to hear, when your words offer warmth, validation, and emotional safety, she's drawn in, even if it's not the full truth. But give her the unvarnished version of reality, and suddenly you're not honest, you're insensitive, cold, or even toxic. It's not the content, it's the impact. Logic rarely wins when emotion stands in its way. Schopenhauer saw it clearly. Her instinct is not to chase reality, but to preserve emotional harmony. To protect her internal peace, she filters truth through how it feels. That's why a man who speaks softly, even while lying, may seem more trustworthy than one who speaks truth without padding. For her, comfort often is truth. 5. She respects power, not kindness. Open doors compliment her. Listen attentively. She appreciates it. She may even smile, and then she'll forget you. Not because she's heartless, but because kindness by itself doesn't stir something deeper. It's familiar, safe, and it's often forgettable. What seizes her attention, what lights the fire is power. Not brute force, but the strength of character. The man who commands his life, who controls his emotions, who moves forward with purpose. That man doesn't ask for respect, he draws it. When you set boundaries, walk away from disrespect, and hold firm to your direction, you become unforgettable. Men are told that kindness wins hearts, but Schopenhauer's lens shows something different. Kindness is only valued when it's backed by strength. Without it, kindness reads as weakness, and weakness extinguishes desire. She might enjoy the nice guy's company, but she desires the man who doesn't need her validation, who stands firm in his identity. That's the paradox. The more you try to win her approval through niceness, the less she sees value in it. Show her unwavering strength, and suddenly your kindness becomes rare, even noble. Not a plea, but a gift. She might like the nice guy, but she chases the one who moves with purpose, who doesn't need her approval. That's the paradox. 6. Her biology competes silently. She won't talk about it openly.
Ouch.
She may not even be fully aware of it. But the moment she steps into a room, something deep within her, ancient and unconscious, activates. Subtle scanning begins. Other women become reference points. Beauty, status, posture, fashion, presence. It's not arrogance. It's not shallowness. It's evolution in action. She's not preparing for open battle. She's preparing to win quietly. Evolution didn't program her to challenge rivals through fists or loud confrontations. Instead, it shaped her to compete through nuance, through posture, tone, eye contact, or even well-timed silence. A compliment may carry hidden venom. A friendly laugh may conceal a subtle dismissal. It's a psychological chess match where the rules are unspoken, and the moves are barely visible. That's why female rivalry rarely sounds like conflict. It feels like tension, like something unsaid hanging in the air. Men may fight to resolve things. Women, Schopenhauer noted, often fight to position themselves without ever seeming combative. It's precise, calculated, and almost invisible, too. The untrained eye, friendships can become arenas. Compliments can double as jabs. Silent glance across a room can say more than an argument ever could. Schopenhauer saw this long before the world was willing to admit it, that behind her composed exterior is a strategist finely attuned to her social standing among other women. She doesn't need to declare she's competing. Her instincts declare it for her. 7. She mirrors you to control you. You smile, and she mirrors that warmth. You grow distant, and so does she. You raise your voice, and suddenly her energy shifts to match yours. At first, it feels like empathy, like she's just in tune with you. But Schopenhauer didn't stop at the surface. He saw the deeper dynamic one that escapes many men even today. Mirroring isn't just emotional resonance, subtle control. By reflecting your state, she earns your trust. She becomes someone who gets you, someone who seems effortlessly aligned with your emotions. And once that trust is secured, something else begins to happen. She starts guiding the interaction not through dominance, but through direction. If she wants calm, she reflects calm. If she wants to stir conflict, she reflects your irritation. It's not guesswork. It's not coincidence. It's instinct. Her way of influencing you is quiet but potent. There's no need for loud arguments, bold statements, or open power plays. She adjusts your emotional compass simply by mirroring it. That's what makes it so effective. It doesn't feel like manipulation. It feels like connection. But underneath it all is a form of control, one that doesn't require force. It's influence without confrontation. It's leadership through harmony, not hierarchy. While men often try to lead through action or assertion, she leads through resonance. And that's why so many men, thinking they're in control, don't realize she's the one quietly shaping the emotional atmosphere. You think you're in charge? But she's holding the mirror hand with it. The power to bend your emotional world to her will. 8. She ages in reverse value. Time has a strange way of dealing its cards. For men, age can be an asset. Maturity brings growth experience, financial stability, confidence, and often desirability. His value increases with what he builds, what he learns, and what he becomes. But for her, the timeline runs differently. Her peak value in society, particularly in how she's perceived in relationships, is closely tied to youth, beauty, and fertility. These are fleeting traits anchored in time. She doesn't need to be told this. Even if the world tries to deny it, she feels it. Deep down, even without ever saying it aloud, she knows. That's why in her younger years, when she holds the most leverage, she seeks commitment. She pushes for stability, for assurance, for lasting bonds. Not because she's manipulative, but because her instincts guide her to secure her position before her advantage fades. Her youth is her bargaining chip. The clock is ticking. Time is the great equalizer for men, but the great thief for women. As she gains in wisdom, society often looks away. She doesn't say it, but she knows. That's why she pushes for. It's not just romance, it's survival strategy. When a woman seeks a relationship in her early years, it's not only about love, chemistry, or fairy tale dreams. It's instinct. It's timing. She knows, whether consciously or not, that the window doesn't stay open forever. Youth, beauty, fertility, they don't last. She can feel the urgency pressing in quietly with each passing year. So she moves early. She locks in a man before that window starts to close. But here's the harsh twist once you begin to rise. Once you've built yourself into the kind of man that other women now chase, don't be surprised if she disappears. Why? Because the man she wanted was the one she could shape, influence, and manage. The one who needed her, the man who becomes powerful, independent, and less controllable, that man often triggers her instinct to move on. It's not cruelty. It's not betrayal. It's biology. Control is easier when the man is still climbing. But once he's standing tall, the dynamic shifts, and so might her desire. Harsh, yes. But Schopenhauer understood this truth. Women love early to secure security. Men love later when they finally are secure. And by the time he's ready to give that deep, stable love, she's often already gone chasing what she once had, what time quietly took away. 9. She will never love you like your mother did. It's one of the most painful realizations a man can face, but one of the most necessary. Your mother's love was unconditional. You didn't have to earn it. You didn't need to be impressive or successful or desirable. Your mere existence was enough. Love was total, pure, a sacred bond. It's forged without expectations. But no woman, no matter how kind, beautiful, or loving, will ever love you that way. Not your girlfriend, not your wife, not your lifelong partner. Because her love is not maternal, it's conditional. It's based on status, strength, emotional presence, and what you provide, not in gifts, but in energy, direction, and stability. This isn't cold or cruel. It's how she survives. She's not your mother. She's a partner navigating a complex world. Her love has requirements, and if those conditions are no longer met, the affection may fade. It's not overnight, but gradually, as the man she once admired becomes someone she no longer recognizes. Schopenhauer didn't sugarcoat this. Romantic love is transactional by nature. It flows based on what both parties bring to the table. So if you're still yearning for that pure, ever-giving love you felt as a child, it's time to wake up. That love belonged to another place. Another time, that was your mother's gift. No woman will ever give you that again. 10. She fears boredom more than pain. Most men assume women leave when they're hurt. Now, pain is what pushes them away. But often the real threat isn't pain, it's boredom. Emotional stillness, predictability, a relationship that feels like a flat line. Because to her nervous system, boredom is death. She might stay in a toxic relationship, not because she lacks self-worth, but because the emotional roller coaster keeps her feeling alive. The chaos, the uncertainty, the volatility, it stimulates her. It keeps her locked in. Drama becomes her drug. Pain, paradoxically, gives her more than peace ever could. Why? Because pain moves. It stirs emotion. It demands attention. So when a relationship becomes too steady, too calm, too safe, something inside her starts to resist. She may not even realize it, but she begins to sabotage, picking fights, stirring emotion, testing boundaries. Not to destroy love, but to awaken feeling, to escape the quiet suffocation of routine. Schopenhauer recognized this long before most dared to speak it. The female psyche, when unstimulated, often creates its own storms, not out of cruelty, but instinct. So, if you've been the reliable, stable, kind man, suddenly she pulls away or begins creating conflict. It's not random. It's her escape from the slow death of emotional monotony. Pain to her is often preferable to peace. Because at least pain moves 0.11. She's emotionally fluid, not fixed. Her emotions don't follow a straight line. They don't operate on logic, predictability, or structure. Instead, they flow like water, shifting direction, speed, and intensity with the winds of mood. Hormones, atmosphere, and even the subtlest social cues. One moment she's affectionate, glowing, showering you with praise and warmth. The next, she's distant, irritated, or inexplicably cold. Not because you changed, but because she did. Her emotional state is not rooted in consistency, it's rooted in change. She isn't wired for steady emotional patterns. She's wired for adaptability. Her feelings respond moment to moment, adjusting to the unseen variables around her. You may be trying to understand her like a formula, as if decoding a system. That must surely make sense if you just try hard enough. But that's where many men make the fatal mistakes, searching for logic where there is only motion. She's not a malfunctioning machine. She's a highly attuned emotional system, designed to respond quickly to shifting conditions. This fluidity isn't a flaw, survival. 8. It allows her to read situations, sense threats, form connections, and adjust with precision. But 2. A man who craves emotional stability, this flexibility can feel like chaos. One day you feel like her center of gravity. The next, you're treading carefully, trying not to set something off. Schopenhauer didn't see this volatility as a defect. As natural design, your job is not to chase every wave or fix every dip. Your job is to anchor yourself. Stay grounded. If you don't, you'll find yourself drowning in a sea of shifting emotions, exhausted by trying to stabilize something that was never meant to remain the same. 12. Her femininity is her weapon. She doesn't need to shout. She doesn't need brute strength or loud demands to shape the world around her. That's not how her influence works. Where a man might confront, she retreats. Where he pushes, she pulls. Where he argues, she stays silent or lets a single tear say more than words ever could. She knows that her power doesn't lie in resistance, but in softness, timing, nuance. While men are often taught to command, she's taught to inspire surrender. And she does without force, without threats, without ever seeming to fight. You'll find yourself apologizing without knowing what for, shifting your tone, changing your mind. Not because she coerced you, but because she subtly guided you. This is the brilliance of feminine power. It doesn't overwhelm, it seduces. It persuades, disarms, and controls not by aggression, but by suggestion. Vulnerability becomes a lever. Femininity becomes a shield and a sword. Schopenhauer saw this clearly. Men tend to fight with force, but women fight with feeling. More often than not, they win. She doesn't overpower you. She makes you want to yield. She doesn't demand authority. She makes it feel like your idea to give it. But don't be fooled. Her gentleness is not submission. It's strategy. And if you mistake it for weakness, you'll lose battles you never even knew you were in. Point 13. She believes in destiny until it fails her. At the beginning, her belief in love feels unwavering. She speaks of soulmates, signs from the universe, stars aligning. She truly believes this time is different, that you were meant to meet, that your story was written in the sky. And in those early moments, that belief is genuine. It provides her with emotional certainty, a romantic framework that brings comfort, clarity, and meaning. But then something shifts. Slowly or suddenly, the fairy tale begins to unravel. Maybe the spark fades. Maybe reality interrupts the story. Or maybe another man appears, someone with more confidence, more success, more potential. And just like that, destiny exits stage left. In its place, something older and more primal takes over: hypergamy. She may not say the word, but she feels its pull, that ancient instinct to seek the best possible partner, protector, provider, prospect. Now, it's not about fate, it's about options. The universe didn't fail her. It simply redirected her. A better opportunity becomes the new destiny. And the narrative shifts without apology. Schopenhauer recognized this long before dating apps made it undeniable. A woman's loyalty to destiny lasts only as long as reality supports the dream. When reality starts to feel like settling, she rewrites the script. Because in her world, love isn't just about what feels right, it's about what is right. For her future, for her survival, for her evolving needs. And that's why the belief in soulmates, though sincere at first, is always subject to review. She believes in destiny until it fails her. And if you're no longer that future, destiny becomes just another word for convenience. 14, she's not the reward. She's the test. Men are told a story from a young age. Work hard, stay loyal, be kind, patient, dependable, and eventually you'll earn her. The woman, the prize, the reward for being a good man. But Schopenhauer saw through this comforting illusion. He understood a deeper truth. She is not the prize waiting at the end of your path. She is the test that determines if you were ever worthy of the path at all. She's not here to validate your potential or celebrate your effort. She arrives in your life to expose everything you still haven't faced within yourself. She doesn't confirm who you hope to be. She reveals who you actually are. Her presence doesn't just amplify love. It amplifies weakness, insecurity, distraction. She is the final mirror, reflecting everything you carry, whether hidden or worn on your sleeve. If you lack discipline, she'll respond with chaos. If you lack self-respect, she'll treat you with less. If you're emotionally unstable, she won't soothe you, she reflect the storm right back. And it won't be out of cruelty. It won't be personal. It's just how the test works. Because if you haven't built yourself, if your mind is soft, your emotions untempered, your identity still tied to how she sees you, you'll begin looking to her for direction, for approval, for permission to feel whole. The moment you do, she'll begin to lose interest. Not because she hates you, but because you're asking her to lead what she instinctively wants to follow. She's not looking for a project. She's looking for a man who's already done the internal work mentally, emotionally, spiritually. A man who doesn't need her to complete him, but who can contain her. So stop imagining she's the treasure at the end of the map. She is the map. And if you aren't ready, she won't destroy you. She simply exposed the truth that you were never the man you thought you were. That's the cold clarity. These aren't lessons taught in love songs, Hollywood plots, or sweetened dating advice. These truths aren't designed for your comfort. They don't protect your ego. They cut through it. They are raw. They are ancient. And they've been ignored for generations by men raised to worship fantasies instead of confronting reality. For centuries, you've been fed a script. Be nice. Enough. Patient enough. Loyal enough. And you'll be rewarded with the one. But men like Schopenhauer and those who dared to question the illusions saw the truth hiding beneath the charm, beneath the softness, beneath the smiles. And now, so have you. You felt it. That quiet discomfort, that subtle tension between what you were told and what you've actually experienced. The moment when love didn't match loyalty, and sweetness masked control. When promises turned into pressure, that wasn't a mistake. It wasn't bad luck. That was the system, working exactly as it was designed. Most men never question it. They live, they love, they lose. Blind, but you've seen through the veil, and now you have a choice. You can go back to sleep. Pretend none of this ever hit you. Keep believing that love is always unconditional, that femininity is always innocent, that your value doesn't need to be built, just noticed. Or you can move differently. You can move like a man who understands the game. A man no longer surprised when loyalty fades, when emotion turns, when softness becomes strategy. A man who no longer searches for the perfect woman, but who builds himself into the complete man. This isn't about bitterness. It's about clarity. It's not about bitterness. It's not about hating women or blaming them. It's about understanding them truly. Not the version you were taught by movies, romance novels, or influencers online, but the real, biological, deeply rooted nature of women. Because once you grasp that truth, not as something to fear, but as something to accept, everything begins to shift. You're no longer at their mercy. You stop stumbling through relationships in confusion. You stop second-guessing her every mood swing, every shift in tone, every subtle withdrawal of affection. Stop chasing her approval like a man starving for worth. And instead, you begin to command respect, quietly, steadily, without needing to ask for it. Because clarity changes everything. When you see clearly, you no longer take things personally. You recognize patterns instead of taking punches. You respond rather than react. You build value instead of begging to be seen. And that transformation, it begins the moment you stop lying to yourself about how the game really works. So if you've reached that breaking point, if you're done playing the fool, being the nice guy who finishes last, constantly confused, by mixed signals, say something. Drop a comment. Not for me. For you. Because sometimes, claiming your truth aloud is the first step toward reclaiming your power. Subscribe to SCHOPENHAUER if you're ready for more of these truths, not the warm and fuzzy kind. The cold, uncomfortable ones. The kind that strip away illusion and force you to look straight into the mirror. Because this isn't just a video. This is your reflection, your wake-up call. Your invitation to stop living blind and start leading with clarity now that you've seen the truth. What are you going to do with it?